We're here.
I'm back with Jonathan, and I'm wearing my Deering t-shirt, which I got new at Merle Fest from the dude himself.
You gotta give us a little Superman pose.
And people always ask, like, do you guys carry banjos? And my answer is always, have you met a banjo player? So no.
I've hered that line 8,000 times this week. No.
Do you guys carry banjos? No. Have you met a banjo player? No, you're right, because I'm a banjo player. That's what they say. They're weird. I have bagpipes. I can't talk. They're strange. But
just lay it out there. Just be honest.
But I will say, like, if you're going to buy a banjo, buy Deering. Because it's neat that it's still a family-owned business.
Yes, that is very cool.
It's still born and bred in the strange old USA, even though the guy I'm talking about is not from the USA, but he's still cool. I respect him. Not saying where he's from, because it's confusing. It's either Scotland, Ireland, Wales, most likely.
Or Kentucky. I'm just kidding.
Kentucky. Maybe Australia or New Zealand, or South Africa. One of those places, you guess.
It's fine. It's all the same.
Anyway, speaking of online fraud, sorry, we're into it now. So there's been a lot of online fraud going on, both in the YouTube sphere and, unfortunately, in Reverb too.
Just everywhere.
And on the online third-party sellers, eBay and Reverb, there's been some stuff blowing up. Philip McKnight, one of our favorite channels, has been talking about this lately.
Yeah, he had a bit. Opened his live stream the other night.
Yeah, you watched that the other night, and then we rewatched some of it this morning.
Yep.
And it was cool.
Yeah.
He's bringing up topics that need to be brought up, like, because it's the first one that really hit home was the YouTube channel idea of scammers are just all over them right now, and he has the hack on how to stop it, we think. So stay tuned. So if you get contacted by some weird, like, WhatsApp number or whatever, it's always a scammer or somebody asking for your information. You've won something.
But just send us $150 and we'll send you the thing you won. Yeah, that's never. Yeah,
I'm gonna do it right now and see how well the scammers have watched. So right now we're giving away a free trip on Elon Musk's spaceship. It's happening. So if you get reached out by something, congratulations, you've not won anything. I guarantee you're gonna find on this feed later.
That'd be really crazy.
Because we mentioned as a joke once, we were talking about, like, there's a free trip to France.
Did we get scammers from that?
There's scammers. I had a direct to a customer, like a scammer was like, hey, did I get the trip to France? I was like, oh no, that was just a joke in passing.
Yeah.
So at least the scammers are actually watching the video.
I appreciate that.
I thank you.
Side note, I'd be a little terrified to fly into space.
I would do it.
I mean, I probably would. It would just be terrifying. I feel like your chance of dying is pretty good.
I mean, what a cool way to go, though. Sort of.
Like space is real.
I mean, well, there's a ceiling. It's like the Truman Show, right?
Yeah.
Bonk.
The firmament, I believe, is what it's called.
Wait, what? You mean the ozone layer?
Everyone knows that's not real.
I know. It's like
we got rid of that.
My mom took care of that in the 60s with her hairspray.
White rain.
Thank you, Mom.
Yeah.
Annette Funicello lived.
I think it healed. The ozone's all happy. It's healed. It's good. The holes are all patched up. It's fine.
Anti-climate person, whatever you are.
I love climate.
I don't even know what you call that.
I don't either.
I think rednecks are the most climate loving. They actually use it. They use the environment. They hunt. They fish.
It's true.
So you're like the most environmental person I know.
That's true. Sort
of, not really, but
I tell my kids not to throw their dip cans out in the river.
Okay, sorry. We'll get back on topic in a minute. But John was telling, what is your solution when you get stung by hornets in the ear?
Oh, it's chewing tobacco.
His dad would put, like, all sorts of chewing tobacco from his mouth in his ear when he gets.
Okay, so one time as a child, this is the best story.
Go quick.
I go to the end of the chicken houses to open the vent because back then everything wasn't computerized. You had to go like do this little crank.
You had to do work.
And as I did it, these 3 wasps stung me in my ear. So my father, in all his wisdom, packed my ear with the chewing tobacco that was in his mouth, just out of the jaw into Jonathan's ear, and then still sent me off to pick beans for the duration of the morning.
This is why none of our children will survive the future, because we're all too soft now.
It's true.
This was normal back in the dear old 90s.
Just juice running down your face.
Like, I don't want to do any more work, Daddy. Get back to work. We're not going to have food.
Yeah, it's true.
Now, there's also a slew of fake guitars coming from Europe and Germany in particular.
That's what
Phil pointed out.
That's what he saw on the YouTube the Reverb listings.
Yeah, and he's contacted Reverb, and Reverb awesomely has the ability for you to notify them if you see something that looks suspicious.
True. Cool.
Like a $200 Klon or a $1,200 Gibson custom shop,
Right.
which we have also seen lots of faux pedals out there, and it's very confusing.
Can I just say that the thing that was like absurd was that there was a Klon selling for like $1,900, and I'm like, it's kind of absurd that that's really underpriced for a Klon. But whatever.
It is absurd. Because I remember back
These are
when
dirt cheap, $1,900.
I remember my friend Peter bought one for around that years ago because he was drunk bidding one time, and he bought, I think it was on eBay or something. He just drunk bought it, I think. And then the guy's like, "Oh, I so overpaid," and then he sold it. Like,
are they really like $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000?
4 or 5 and up.
I heard somebody say, gosh, that is insane. Yeah, I had a friend at Guitar Center in Nashville who bought one for like $1,500 one time, and
like,
we all thought it was insane. Yeah, exactly. We were like, oh. And put it on his board. We were like, man, all right.
And these are pedals that are fakeable.
Yeah.
These are a lot easier to fake than certain things that are being built out there.
I mean, it would have to be, to do the enclosure.
I mean, because most people aren't really thoroughly inspecting the internals.
No.
Either. Like the enclosure is the part you want to get, like you can relic it a bit, make it look like it's from, 30.
I mean, the internals are gooped, right, on Klons?
Yeah.
Can you put that stuff on them?
That's the idea. But most people aren't opening their pedals.
If I had a Klon, I'd freaking open it. I don't open the pedals generally, but
I don't either.
if I had a real...
I open them if they're broken.
Well,
just see if I can fix it somehow with a little bit of chewing tobacco, apparently. That's one of my quick fixes. Have you ever gotten scammed?
I've never pulled the trigger on a scam. I've been close on some things. I think it was usually though when I am selling something personal, it's a personal item, and then you think you have a deal going through, and then something weird happens, and you realize, oh no, this is not legit.
I know our other dear friend, like this is not online, but Mark of the Myers grouping, he's set up lots of like sort of Facebook sales where he goes to sell it, and then the people just are never there.
Oh yeah,
that would just drive me bonkers. It's not getting scammed, but it's just like, what a waste of time.
That's just irritating, right?
Because you're usually driving, let's say it's 15 minutes at least. It's usually 20 or 30 minutes sometimes to meet someone somewhere because you don't want to meet them at your house.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's just like a wasted afternoon and day.
No, but so irritating because I've done some long drives. Like when I drove to Kentucky to buy a Super Reverb one time from Nashville, and then met a guy in Alabama a few hours away to sell my Gretsch. So yeah, if I had gotten there and no one was there, I'd be.
You did that long drive for me when you made the detour to Nashville to pick up the Brian Mavok.
Oh yeah, I'll get it on the way home, Baxter. Oh, it's only eight hours out of my way.
It was like 2 hours out of your way or something.
It was a lot. It was like I didn't realize.
I didn't realize that either. I was like, oh, I gave you gas money.
Yeah, you did. For tone, I was happy to do it for the tone.
I know for tone. It's like it's weird that because it was from Carter's, right? And they wouldn't ship an amp.
No, this is a huge amp.
It's weird that Carter's doesn't ship amps. That just doesn't make sense to me. I get it because it's a nightmare because things break.
I get it too.
And people are like, well, my tubes, I want to send it back. You're like, oh.
Well, to be fair, when we ship an amp, we usually have like the original packaging. You know what I mean? We're not shipping like vintage amps most of the time. Now, I guess we would though, right?
Yeah, we would definitely.
Figure it out.
Now, if you are seeing scams out there, like let us know, let other people know, let the sites you work with know. We've done a few videos based on like what we've seen on Reverb with like the Delaware thing with some issues, and we had some corrections on that too. We've already released some of them too. Yeah. And we had a phone call the other day saying, your video is wrong about something with the Reverb, how they're shipping. The shipping does actually insure it if you buy it through Reverb, and we've talked about that on videos before. Yeah. And I actually had like I think it was a Zoom call with like a couple of the head guys at Reverb after we did that video just to kind of get clarification. Right. They're awesome about that stuff. They weren't pissed or anything. They're like, oh yeah, we think you're a little bit wrong on some of your facts on that. And I was like, yeah, just walk me through where, there was still some issues with one buyer that was trying to buy stuff. It was be a
little confusing.
It was sketchy as all get out, but no, they're awesome to work with. They're easy to deal with.
I will say that to Reverb's credit, even when something's confusing or you have an issue, there's been a couple of times through the shop and personally where I was able to get on either on the phone or on chat with a real person.
Our main guy, Eric, he's like sort of our direct shop contact. I'm not gonna say his last name for privacy reasons. But he's a mad skateboarder too. He does that mono board in Chicago. He just skates around the one that's like powered.
What is a mono board?
That one that has like it's powered and you can lean forward and backwards. It's like it's like electric, but it's awesome. One giant wheel. Oh. And he does that and he does jumps and stuff. He wears like a mohawk, kind of like Captain Marvel. when he does it, like the Mohawk helmet.
I'd like to see this.
I think I'm not sure about the helmet, but I'm just
That's things I'd like to see.
anyway. They've been really helpful about it, but it's there's so the fraud stuff has been rampant this past year.
True.
And I think that's just a lot of people have been working from home, and the criminals have been working from home too.
They're like,
How do I take advantage of this? Everyone's at home on the internet.
Right. Yeah.
There's this great video on the internet now. It's where one of these hackers, he's a good hacker. His he gets one of the call centers from India, I believe. And that's like a scammer call center, and he hacks into their internal cameras too. And then so he's watching them as they're talking to him, and then he hacks into their computers. And so he starts moving their mouse around. And so like, oh hey, and he says their names, like I know where you live, and they're like, wait, how are you doing this? And then we're watching them on camera from above too. It's amazing, just to watch the criminals freak out and try to figure out what's going on.
It's like a superhero.
It is like a superhero.
If I was not so technologically illiterate, I think it'd be fun to be a hacker, a good hacker, like a good vampire.
The local high school here, there was a good hacker, and a senior prank that he did to the school. He hacked into the computer system at his local school, Pinecrest. I'm not saying his name or her name, and he had it to where all the teachers were locked out, and then I think some profanities popped up when they finally got in, and it was really funny. This is the same high school where it's called Pinecrest, and for one senior prank years back, probably a decade ago now, they took out some of the letters and it's spelled incest high school. And it was awesome. It made national news.
That's pretty good. That actually is pretty
good. So they have a record of good senior pranks. So seniors this year, if any of you are watching that live in this region, or any seniors across it, prepare your pranks well. Some of them come with criminal offenses and records, so be careful.
I don't feel like we did that. Maybe we were just...
It wasn't a thing back in our day. It's like a newer thing.
Okay.
They have all sorts of dumb stuff now.
Yeah.
It's like the fashion.
Like TikTok. The old TikToks.
I know. We were talking about that earlier. Our old manness. It's like, oh my God, like the fashion's absurd too.
I don't know when I became an old man. It just happened one day.
You're definitely an old man. I've been an old man for years.
I just woke up and thought, man.
Well, and then we were just talking, like, oh, was it bad when we were? It's like, no, even grunge. You look at grunge, and like
They're
you look
so
at
good looking.
They're all those guys like Eddie Vedder, Chris Cornell, Kurt Cobain. Like all of them are super attractive people. Yeah. Eddie Vedder's sort of like Brad Pitt level in a band.
He is kind of like a Greek god.
You look at the young Eddie Vedder, it's just ridiculous. But like
he's like hanging from the trusses.
Flannels and cool jeans and like Doc Martens, that's still cool today.
It's true.
Now granny pants, come on kids. You're gonna look at yourself like I have a vest from when I was 15 taking my high school date. I look like I had flair on. If some of our choices are bad, a lot of you are making really bad choices right now. I make bad choices every day and have made a life out of it.
Yeah, pretty much.
But oh gosh, it's just funny. Anyway, I think that's it. I mean, check out Philip McKnight's stream on that. It's a really fascinating watch.
Hopefully we will reach out to Mr. McKnight and he will tell us how to clear the scammers from our channel.
The secrets of destroying them. We've tried all sorts of things and they just keep coming back. It's like when you get fleas in your house.
Right.
They keep coming. So thank you for watching. Click likey, subscribey. And we'll be on our merry way. Thank you. Avoid the criminals. Make the world just and true.
Good day, sirs.